Hello, friends of Pacific Beach Presbyterian Church. This is our weekly update uh, about things going on around in our community. And there are some new developments that I'm happy to see happening. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody that tried to join the adult class on Sunday. We had a few problems, and it looks like it may have been my computer or connection that was the main issue. So Lisa and I are figuring that out, and we are going to make the necessary adjustments. So even though we had a rough beginning, don't get frustrated. Come on back and join us at the adult class at 11 o'clock on Sunday on a Zoom. Everyone will get a Zoom invitation. And if you don't for some reason, maybe we can get you the ID number, the meeting ID number, and the password. That way you can get on yourself. You don't need that link. This Sunday, we're moving on to the parable of the rich fool. I've entitled the sermon Finding the Authentic Life, because that's what I kind of feel this whole parable is about, is losing authenticity by looking at the things in life that lead you down kind of a rabbit hole and don't lead you to connect with God in a more substantial way. So we'll be talking about that. I'll be giving you the questions out on Friday or Thursday or Friday. And hopefully we'll have all the bugs worked out of the computer. So again, I hope to see you back. It was nice to see many of your faces, even though they were paused and frozen. It was still nice to see all of you. Next, the preschool has just been notified by the state of regulations because of the COVID-19 that each classroom needs to have its own fence, its divider. The classes need to be divided. They can't all be out on the playground together and so forth. So we are working on that. Chris Woodruff is on top of that, and we'll see if we can get that done very soon. It's just one of those things that we kind of didn't know about, and the state actually sent an email, so we've got to comply, because that's a big part of our ministry is the preschool, and Amy's doing a great job of building that back up, and she expects to be at full capacity sometime in the fall. So we're looking forward to that. So we want to comply with everything that the state wants us to do. Next, Lisa, because of the change in our working schedule, and because of Sunday, now that I'm doing the adult class, we've sort of talked about it, and she thinks that maybe working on Sunday is better than working on Friday to serve the church and to help us with the Zoom problems that we will encounter most often. So so we are making that decision to do that, and it's probably an experimental way. We'll just see how this goes and how it all works out and how it can serve you best. But she will be working on Sunday, switching her hours from Friday. So anything during the week, she'll work up till Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday she's off, and then Sunday she's back on. So Sunday through Thursday. So I hope that helps. And I don't see any downsides to it at this point. So I hope that this all works out. And if not, we'll go back to the other hours and we'll try another way to do it. Okay, tonight the PNC is having its third meeting, I believe. And they're moving now on to the mission form. The mission statement was already done, but now all that material needs to be put on a form for the presbytery. So they are working hard at that. They've already had their assignments. They're putting things down tonight. They're making, so this should be, we'll get this done pretty soon. And just to let you know that once the PNC moves into this stage of its critical work, that means I have to stand back. It really isn't appropriate for interim pastors to be involved in that process. Mary Elva is leading them through. Steve Ritz is the chair of that committee, and he's done this a couple of 3 times. So everyone is in good hands getting through this process. Now the last thing. Last night we had another reopening task force meeting. Grant led us through various questions, and people did some research on possible guidelines, how we are going to reopen and so forth. And I want to go through some of those with you, just to let you know what we're thinking about, what we're doing. And again, the people on that committee is Carol Sorensen, Judith is on that, Grant is leading it. I'm also ex officio on that committee. And I think Italia is on that as well. But you know what? I'm blanking on the rest. But we'll make sure we get all their names to you so that you know the people that are working on it together. So first of all, there was talk about having some person in the parking lot kind of directing traffic, directing parking spaces, and making sure people are staying within the relevant distance from each other. But the committee decided against that, that they're going to let everybody be responsible to be safe in the parking lot and walk to the sanctuary and so forth. So there'll be no sort of restrictions placed on spacing or anything like that. We're counting on you to wear your masks when we reopen and the necessary distancing. Now, liturgists. There was a thought that maybe we'd have just, when we reopen, we'd just have like one liturgist. And that way, the one person would be on all the mics and you wouldn't have to wipe them down or anything for the next person. But I think that we're working on using lapel mics and some other means where a person just has one mic. And that way we don't have to go through the gyrations of sanitizing between people coming up and so forth. So we made some real good progress on that. So we'll keep you informed. Everything except the hymnals and Bibles and offering envelopes will be removed from the pews. Under the guidelines of many of the churches that are opening, they've taken all the paper that people would handle back and forth, or so. We're taking all of that out The order of service will be up on the screen. We're going to try maybe to split screen, do some things. We need to work on all of that to make sure that we can do exactly what we want and everybody is on sort of following the service and not sort of intimidated by what's happening at one time. So no paper bulletins will be used. Order of service will be on the screen. Well, that's it for that. But the big issue that we're talking about talked about last night was communion. Communion is going to be a problem, but it's a very meaningful event for all of us to have communion. So we talked about maybe a representational kind of communion where one person would be served communion for everyone. There are packets that we can buy. We're looking into what that is. Are they difficult to open? If you open them, are they easy to spill? We don't know anything. So we are looking into that and discussing it next Tuesday on what to do with communion. Because that is very, very important part of our worship, and we don't want to lose it, but we want to be safe, we want to be responsible, and we want to take care of all the congregation. So we're going to do our best to see what other people are doing, what the presbytery suggests, what our national offices suggest. So we'll do our research. The bathrooms, what we're going to do is have the doors open, and I believe tape or lines. If someone's using the restroom, that we find spacing and all of that. Chris Woodruff will probably be working on that and helping us through that checkpoint, you might say. Yeah. And then maybe replacing some of the towel and soap dispensers where you don't have to touch them, but maybe just put your hand underneath electronic things. So we're looking into all those special things to make sure that people are safe and we don't have to wash our hands every 5 minutes or wash our hands after we washed our hands. So now, spacing in the sanctuary. Carol and Judith, they worked out a spacing plan for every other pew. It's 6 feet from this pew, and then there's a pew here and a pew here. So you will skip one pew and it'll be 6 feet, and then spacing in between with families will take on its own dimension, and ushers will be able to help with that to make sure that even if it's a family that sits together, that there'll be 6 feet between the next persons down the row. So we're working on all the angles on that, whether we're going to tape things, what we're going to do, or we're going to let ushers take a lot of the control there. But it will definitely be a safe place to be when we reopen with that. Well, I believe that's the big ticket item that we want all of you to know, that we've been working hard to get the church service reopened. And the office, again, we are planning to open around July 7th. We'll be talking with the session next Wednesday and making sure that everybody's comfortable with that plan. We won't have very many people in the office. Grant and I will come in sparingly, only when we're necessary to do so. But Lisa will be there in the office, and she feels very comfortable about that. So, that's the news of the day. It seems like the same old news. Nothing's changed. We're still trying to go through everything. Stay safe and all of the necessary things we have to do. But keep looking for the emails. I'm enjoying writing the meditations for all of you. And we do the service during the week. We're planning some improvements, as we go along in this process. And it's been a learning experience for all of us, and I hope that this learning experience helps us grow and appreciate each other much more than before. Not being around the people that you care about, it's a hard thing. So anyway, I'll say goodbye at this point. Stay well, be responsible, and keep praying for each other, holding each other up, calling each other, making sure that information that you may have, another person doesn't have, pass it on, and so that we're all connected together. Well, God bless you, and we will see you next week.